Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Dani. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to knit this beautiful shawl. This is the Sienna shawl and it is a super simple garter stitch shawl that it's made with multiple colors and it's very beginner friendly. You will learn a few things in this pattern, but it's still very much a beginner friendly pattern. So before we get into today's video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it already, and also remember that you have the free pattern on my blog and all the materials and everything that you need to know, including the colors that I'm using and the number of rows, etc. Everything, it's on my blog. So now let's get into the video. To make this shawl, I'm using 4 colors of Remake by Lion brand. The colors are going to be listed in the description box of this video. This is a category 4 worsted weight yarn, very nice and fluffy yarn, perfect for the winter. It is made from recycled materials, which is super nice. But yeah, we're gonna be using 4 colors, or you can use more or less if you like. You will also need your 6mm knitting needles with a 32-inch cable or longer and 2 stitch markers. You will also be needing your scissors and your tapestry needle to weave in the ends, and I highly recommend you use a row counter because you will be needing to know what row you're in to make your increases. And with the garter stitch, especially if you're a beginner, sometimes it's a little bit hard to count the rows. To begin this pattern, we're gonna start here at the top. We're gonna make the little triangle and we're gonna make what it's called the Garter Tab Cast-On, which is a very simple method to begin to then continue working on this direction to make your shawl. So we're gonna increase downwards, I guess you can say, and in here we're gonna make 20 rows of color A. Then we're gonna move to color B and we're gonna knit 8 rows. Then we're gonna introduce a new color and we're going to do again 20 rows and then again 8 rows of color B. So we're making 20 rows with every main color, and the in-between colors will always be 8 rows. So very simple color sequence, but super fun. And we're gonna end the shawl with 8 rows of color B. All of this is on my blog in the pattern for you guys to see. Okay, so let's begin with the Garter Tab Cast-On. For this, you're going to cast on 3 stitches. I have 2 in here and I need 1 extra stitch. Now that I have 3 stitches on my needle, I'm going to knit. Just simple knit garter stitch for 7 rows, just to create a small rectangle. So here I have 1 stitch, 2, then 1 more, and I have 3. So that's 1 row. Now you're going to turn and knit again those 3 stitches, and that will be 2 rows. Again, important here to use your row counter if it's not easy for you to identify the rows with garter stitch. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. So here I have 2 rows and continue doing this for 7 rows. Now that we have the little rectangle, this is how it should be looking like. We're not gonna turn to knit on the other side, and we're gonna turn it how you see it in here on 90 degrees. And we're going to pick up 3 stitches on the garter stitch edge that we have in here. So I picked up 3 stitches with my left needle, and now I'm going to knit those 3 stitches. I have 1, 2, and 3. Now I have 6 stitches on my right needle. We're going to turn again on another 90 degrees and we're gonna work here on the cast on edge. And the cast on edge will be a little bit more tricky to pick up the stitches, but insert your needle wherever you can to pick up 3 stitches. So here I have the 3 loops on my left needle. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, you just need 3 stitches. Once you have those 3 loops, you're going to knit them as well. I'm gonna move the tail, and you're gonna knit those 3 stitches that you have on your left needle. And now you should have 9 stitches on your right needle, and that's it for the Garter Tab Cast-On. Basically all we did was to create a nice edge at the top of your shawl, and that's it. Now we have the Garter Tab Cast-On all done. You don't have to worry about anything else. We have 9 stitches on our needles, and now row number 1 will be the setup row. Make sure you have your 9 stitches, that you didn't miss any. And now let's begin with the row 1, which will be the setup row where we're gonna be placing the markers. So to begin row 1, you are going to knit 4 stitches. Remember that the whole shawl is working with the garter stitch, which is basically just the knit stitch. So now you're gonna knit 4 stitches. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're gonna bring one of your markers and place it right here. Now you're gonna knit 1, bring the second marker and put it right here on your right needle. And now you're gonna knit the last 4 stitches, and that's the setup row. We have our stitch markers in place, and now we can start knitting away. Now row 1 and every uneven number of rows will only have a knit stitch, no increases, no nothing. But every even number of rows will have increases. And this is why it's super important to have your row counter, so you know you are in an even number of row, you need to make the increases. And if you are in your uneven number of row, you don't need to make any. So now this is row 2, and we're gonna begin with the increases, and I'm gonna show you how that looks like. We're gonna be increasing with the knit front back stitch, which I'm gonna show you right now. So to begin row 2, and every even number of row, you're going to knit 2 stitches. We have 1, 2, and the third stitch will be an increase, and we're gonna increase with the knit front back. To do that, you're going to insert your needle as if you were knitting. You are going to get the yarn again as if you were knitting, but you're not gonna drop the stitch on the left needle. You're gonna now insert your right needle in the back loop of your stitch, and you're gonna knit again. So now you can let that go, and you have 2 stitches out of 1, so you created an increase. Okay, so now the one stitch before the marker will also have an increase. So in here I need another knit front back stitch. So you knit the front loop and then the back loop or the back post, and now we have created an increase. Now we're going to move the marker, knit the stitch that's in between the markers, move the next marker, and the stitch after the marker will also have an increase. So in here we can do the knit front back, increase, and now when you have 3 stitches left, which this one has exactly that number of stitches, that's why you see it so close to each other, but once you have 3 stitches left, the third stitch will have the increase, which is the knit front back increase. So we knit 1, we don't drop, go in the back loop, insert your needle and knit the back loop, and we have the increase. And now you can knit the last 2 stitches. And as I was saying at the beginning, the next row, which will be row 3, doesn't have any increases because it's an uneven number of rows. So all we're gonna do is knit every single stitch without increasing. So now you can knit every single stitch without increasing. And that's for every uneven number of row. So we're gonna continue knitting. Then you move your marker, knit, move your marker, and continue knitting. Now we are done. We're gonna go to row 4, which is the even number of row. And for that, we're gonna do the increases. So we knit 2, and the 3rd stitch will have a knit front back increase. Then we knit until 1 stitch before the marker. So we knit and we knit. Then I have the stitch in here, which is gonna have an increase. Then we move the marker, knit the stitch that's in between the markers, and the stitch that comes after the marker will have an increase. So the stitch right here will have a knit from back increase. And now you're going to knit until you have 3 stitches left on your needle. And that 3rd stitch will have the increase. So in this one, we make the knit front back increase. And now we finish knitting the last 2 stitches. And just like that, you're gonna repeat row 2 and 3 all the way up until you are done with your shawl. Every even number of rows will increase, so your shawl is gonna continue getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're gonna have more stitches on your needles. And then that's it. That's how we are gonna do it. Remember that the shawl will have 20 rows of the color A, then 8 rows of color B, 20 of the new color, and like that. Now to change the color in each row, what I do is simply cut the yarn, get the new yarn, and continue knitting with the new color. And then at the end, I will just weave in the ends, make a knot, and just weave in the ends really, really well. This is how the back of the shawl looks like. All the color changes are made in the uneven number of rows, so make sure you're counting your stitches, you're counting your rows, because you want the color changes to be in the wrong side of your shawl. You don't want to make a mistake and have a color change on one side and then the other one. So that's why it's super important to use your row counter. Every color changes, like I said, will be on an uneven number of row. So if we do 20, the color change will be in row 1 of the new color. And like I said, I just cut the yarn to change the color in here. And then I bring the new color, continue knitting with the new color, and I just weave in the ends and make a little knot. That doesn't bother me, but if you want to use any other method, like the magic knot, you can also do that, whatever is easier for you. And then you're gonna continue knitting until you are done with your shawl. Remember that the color sequence, it's going to be on my blog, but I already said it, 20 rows, 8, 28, 28, until we are done with the shawl. The dimensions are also going to be on my blog. So if you guys are interested to see how big this shawl is, you can go ahead and do that. Now that your shawl is ready, you have to cast off your stitches. And if you know me, you already know that I love casting off the stitches using a crochet hook. But I'm gonna show you how to do it with your knitting needles in case you don't feel comfortable with your crochet hook. So to cast off your stitches, you're going to knit one stitch, knit the second one, and then the first one you're going to take it and slip it over and off the needle. We're gonna do it again. You're going to knit the second stitch, grab the first one, pass it over the second stitch and off the needle. That's how you do it with your knitting needles. And now with the crochet hook, it's the same, but it's just gonna be easier to slip that second stitch over the first one. So you're gonna insert the hook and knit one and then slip just under that. See how much easier and faster it is with the crochet hook. I highly recommend that. Even if you don't crochet, I highly recommend you do so. Not crochet, I mean use the crochet hook to cast off your stitches. But anyways, you're gonna continue casting off your stitches or binding off. Try to make it a little bit loose so that your shawl, it's not tight at the end. And once you are all done casting off your stitches, you are going to grab your scissors, snip the yarn, and I like making a little knot in here. And as you can see, we have this little piece of yarn in here that's almost like an open hole. It doesn't matter, you are gonna grab your tapestry needle, weave in the end, and you can weave it on this side like this, so you can cover that little hole, and then you're all done. Then you can maybe put tassels, fringes, or just leave it as is, and your shawl, it's all ready. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave your questions below. I'm always trying to answer in as many as I can, especially when the video goes up. I'm super active there trying to answer to all of the comments. And yeah, remember that you have the free version of the pattern on my blog. Check that out. And this shawl, this is a very important thing. This shawl needs to be blocked if you're using any kind of natural fiber. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next tutorial or vlog. Bye.